What's going on, everybody? Welcome to Quantum Ascent. I have Realio Network up on the screen, the 1 week price chart. Going to take a look at some alt-season targets for this guy. Full disclosure, I don't own any, but it was a request from my Quantum Circle group. Check the link in my bio if you want to become a part of that. So Rio, looking at a wave count, it's kind of hard here. This is like the inception. It's kind of hard to do TA on the very beginning. I'm going to take it from where price kind of regulated right here. And it looks like that we have a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 wave move down to the downside there for Rio coming off inception. And again, 2021 early on was an alt season. So this was released after that. We don't have any data to kind of show us how that looks. So this is going to be the first alt season, but we can see right here, we had a 5 wave move up. We had an A, B, C down. And then we had a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, right? So can everybody get on board with that? Awesome. So now we have to decide, well, where are we at within this count? Well, this can't be a macro 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 right here. That can't be the primary count because of how low we came here. This came down into the bottom of the second wave. Ideally, it would have stopped all the way up here. It didn't. It dropped below that. So how I'm looking at this from a count is it certainly looks like what we did was we had an A, B, C, right, on that first wave. Right now, I should have gotten into this count first. Looks like an ABC right here on the smaller time frame, right? Right now, sitting at a double bottom. So obviously, if this breaks out, this could turn into a 5-wave move instead of an ABC, okay? But for the time being, that is holding. All right, and so what we would be looking for here on a more macro time frame for a count would be this is like your 1, 2, and we're waiting on 3, 4, 5 to get us wherever we're going. And we'll work on those targets in a minute. And so this entire structure here, what we would be creating is this is like waves within waves, guys, some inception shit, would be a macro A, B, C. That's what we would be looking for if this continues to be the wave count. Okay, so everybody sees that. Cool. Now, where did let's see if we found any fib support on this move. I draw it from the low to the high. Nope, made it down below that. If we take this from the high up here to the low here, yep, still below the 236. But like I said, we are finding some support down here at the bottom of that B wave and wave 2, right? So looking at past price action, that's where we found it. Not from fib support, and you can also see that on this first move, right? So this is a level that it wants to hold. If this breaks down a little bit further, we have this cluster here. I mean, we have some supports coming in. So, you know, as long as the rest of the market's looking to turn up, it should be the same here for Rio. So now let's talk about where we're headed. First things first is we haven't closed out this first macro range, which is up there at 861. Now, that seems pretty far away. Right now in the markets across the board, we're looking at like a 10 to 20x, depending on the asset, okay? Here's the thing about Rio, though. It's only a $23 million market cap. That is a micro cap. So TA, a lot of times, this stuff can end up getting absolutely blown out of the water on the micro cap. So keep that in mind, because when we look at where we're at right now, we're at 15 cents. You're like, all right, guy, we're talking about $8. That's a 54x from where we're at right now, right? That's not lost on me. I understand that. And that's why that's our blow off target. But a smaller cap coin, I mean, 25 million going 50x. Let's see. 40x gets you to $1 billion market cap. $1 billion isn't that big of a market cap relative to other stuff in the market, especially once everything's going up. So this is definitely still possible. I understand it sounds like moon math, but hey, I'm just reading the charts, kid. So going back here, I want to take a lot of the market. We're looking at full extensions from this 2025 high. Well, we have some confluence out here. The 3618 of this range that we've been going through for the last year plus matches up with the 2618 on this broader time frame that we're talking about. So I see this right here and I'm like, all right, that is definitely a target for me. And where we're at, still a lot of gas, 33x, right? So that's where we're at on that guy. And the other thing too that we always have to be paying attention to is these retracement levels in here, right? There is a ton. It is very dense in here for us to be able to get through. But one area I do want you to pay attention to is the 786 on the broad term lines up with the top of this B wave, which lines up with some of these higher, like right up here on like that 126 mark, right? The 786 of this range gets us up 618 of the macro range. That high lines up at the 786. So I'm looking at, like, for my conservative target, I'm looking in this area right here, somewhere between $1.26 and $1.60 for my conservative target. All right. And so since we're going to be conservative with it, let's take it on the low end here at $1.26. From where we're at right now, where does that put us? That puts us at about an 8x, just outside of that 10 to 20x range. Let me see something. We pull that up to the 786 at 160. That puts us in the range. So that's what we're going to move. We're going to call it, we're getting back up to this B wave top here. That just makes sense from a price movement. It also coincides with the larger time frame. So we're looking right up there. Looks like that puts it at like $1.50, $1.53 right there. And that's just shy of a 10x, right? And that puts us in line with the rest of the market. So we do have some tall targets here. But guys, in the event that, you know, this thing ends up doing this, what it's going to be creating is just an A, B, C, and this ends up rolling over in a recession, depression type crash, which I believe is next. If not, this thing is setting new highs, right? And if we're doing the macro A, B, C, well, there's an even taller target for this thing that I will mention, but I'm not even going to put it in the in the clip, because we know the C wave has to be equal to the A wave, and that thing puts you all the way up here at $30, right? So $30 from 15 cents, like, holy hell. So I'm not even going to put that in the video, but if for some reason, again, $25 million market cap's not big. If for some reason we're ripping up here quick, we'll revisit it and keep it in mind, because from a TA perspective, or from a Elliott wave perspective, that would technically make sense, but odds are it's not going to be a full-blown ABC. It'll be some sort of complex count. And like I said, we can revisit that when we get there. But guys, conservative target, $1.53. Primary, which feels a little tall, $5.35. And then our blow off up there at $8.61. That's how we do it. Don't look at me. Look at the math, man. Join the Quantum Circle, real-time trades, access to my portfolio, 2 macro videos a day, a Discord, and I teach you how to do TA. Link to that in my bio. If not, thank you so much for being here. If you guys could follow, like, repost. Want to blast this out to as many as I can before it's too late. So hope everyone has a wonderful day, and I will catch you in the next one.